You're 35 expired goods, he said, serving divorce papers. 7 years later, his doctor called. You're his only match. I looked at my new husband, my kids, my perfect life, and responded, I'll need to think about it. Can you give me 48 hours? The doctor paused. Mrs. Sharma, I understand this is complicated, but your ex-husband doesn't have 48 hours. He needs this transplant immediately. It's Dr. Patel now, I corrected. And he'll have to wait. After all, good things come to those who wait. Isn't that what he used to tell me when I asked about starting a family? I hung up and turned to my husband, Arjun, who was making pancakes with our 4-year-old twin daughters. Saturday morning tradition in the Patel household. Messy counters, giggles, and more flour on the floor than in the bowl. Mommy, look. I made a butterfly. Dia held up a vaguely wing-shaped pancake. Beautiful, baby. I kissed her flour-dusted nose, trying to push away the phone call that threatened to shatter our peaceful morning. That was about Richard? Arjun asked quietly, reading my face with the intuition that came from 6 years of actual partnership. I nodded. Richard, the man who'd promised me forever, then decided forever had an expiration date that coincided with my 35th birthday and his secretary's 23rd. 7 years ago, I'd come home from my shift at the hospital to find him in our bedroom, packing his designer suits into the luggage we'd bought for our honeymoon. What's going on? I'd asked, though the cliché of it all made the answer obvious. I'm leaving, Priya. This isn't working anymore. This? You mean our marriage? I mean us. You've changed. Changed? How? He'd looked at me with the cold assessment of someone pricing used cars. You're 35. You've got crow's feet. Stress weight from your residency. You're always tired, always talking about work or babies or the future. Where's the fun girl I married? The fun girl grew up, became a doctor, thought she was building a life with her husband. See, this is what I mean. Everything's so serious with you now. Brittany understands me. She's young, fresh, excited about life. Brittany? Your secretary Brittany? The one who thinks antibiotics cure viral infections. Don't be bitter, Priya. It ages you. He'd zipped up the suitcase with finality. I've already filed. You'll be served tomorrow. I'm being generous. You can keep the house. Generous? We bought it with my inheritance. And I'm not fighting for half. Consider it a parting gift. What about children? We were going to start trying this year. Thank God we didn't. Can you imagine being tied to this dried-up marriage forever? He'd actually shuddered. Brittany wants to wait at least 10 years for kids. She wants to enjoy life first. Travel, adventure, spontaneity. Not your ovulation calendars and fertility appointments. I'm a reproductive endocrinologist. Those calendars are literally my job. We're your job. Are your job. Whatever. The point is you're 35, Priya. Expired goods. I'm 38 and in my prime. I deserve someone who matches my energy. Expired goods. Like I was a carton of milk past its sell-by date. You'll regret this, I'd said quietly. The only thing I regret is not leaving sooner. Before you got so maternal. He'd left that night. The divorce was swift. He wanted his freedom. I wanted him gone. He'd married Brittany 3 months later in Vegas. I'd seen the photos on Facebook before blocking them both. She'd worn a crop-top wedding dress. He'd looked like a middle-aged man desperately clinging to youth. I'd thrown myself into work, into building the life he'd mocked me for wanting. My practice flourished. I published papers on fertility preservation that got me invited to speak at conferences. I bought a little cottage by the beach where I could walk and think and heal. And then I'd met Arjun at one of those conferences. A pediatric surgeon with gentle hands and a laugh that made me remember joy wasn't just for 20-somethings. He was 39, divorced himself, and understood that baggage could be unpacked rather than dragged around forever. I don't want to wait, he'd said on our 6-month anniversary. We're not 20. We know what we want. I want you marriage, kids if we're blessed, grandkids if we're lucky, and every single day in between. We'd married a year later. Small ceremony, just family and close friends. I'd worn a sari in deep red, crow's feet crinkling when I smiled. Stress weight replaced by the soft curves of a woman who'd learned to nourish herself. The twins came 2 years later. IVF, because life has a sense of humor about fertility doctors struggling with fertility. But they came. 2 perfect girls who had Arjun's calm nature and my stubborn streak. Expired goods, Richard had called me. Yet here I was at 42, married to a man who worshipped every line on my face because they mapped our journey together. Mother to 2 miraculous daughters, chief of reproductive medicine at the hospital where I'd once been a resident. And Richard, the eternal youth seeker, was dying at 45, his kidneys destroyed by the party lifestyle Brittany had enabled. Alcohol, recreational drugs, the high life that had seemed so appealing when maternal me had suggested moderation. "What are you thinking?" Arjun asked, settling the girls with a movie so we could talk. "That I should hate him. That part of me wants to let him suffer like he made me suffer. But I'm a doctor. And a mother. And somewhere underneath all the hurt, I remember the man he was before he decided youth was more valuable than growth. No one would blame you for saying no. I'd blame me. Eventually. But Arjun. I took his hand. I need him to understand what he threw away. Not from spite, but because he needs to see that the life he mocked is the life that's saving him. Then we do this your way. Whatever you need." 2 days later, I met Richard at the hospital. The eternal youth seeker looked ancient, gray skin, hollow eyes, the bloat of kidney failure. Brittany was nowhere to be seen. "She left," he said before I could ask. 2 years ago. Said sick people were too depressing. Married her CrossFit instructor. "I'm sorry." "No, you're not." "You're right. I'm not." I sat down, maintaining professional distance. "But I am here. Your doctor says I'm your only match." "Lucky me," he attempted sarcasm, but it fell flat. "The ex-wife I called expired goods is my only hope. God has a sense of humor. God has a sense of justice. There's a difference. I suppose you want me to grovel. Apologize. Admit I was wrong. I want you to listen." I pulled out my phone, showing him photos. "These are my daughters, Dia and Divya. 4 years old. Conceived when I was 38, born when I was 39. That expired body you mocked gave life to 2 perfect humans." His face crumpled slightly. "This is my husband, Arjun. He's 43. Thinks my crow's feet are laugh lines from our joy. Calls my stretch marks tiger stripes from growing our cubs. Sees my gray hairs as silver threads in the tapestry of our life. Priya, I'm not finished. This is my house, not the one you generously left me, but the one Arjun and I bought together. Big yard for the girls, home office for my research, kitchen where we make pancakes every Saturday. Why are you showing me this? Because you need to understand what expired goods actually built. The life you said I was too old and boring to deserve? I'm living it. Fully. Magnificently. While you chased youth until it ran away from you. I get it. You won. You got everything. No, Richard. I got everything I wanted. You got everything you thought you wanted. There's a difference. He was quiet for a long moment. Are you going to give me the kidney or not? Yes. His head shot up. Yes. Just like that. Not just like that. With conditions. Of course there are conditions. You'll go to therapy. Real therapy, not life coaching from someone half your age. You'll examine why you equated a woman's worth with her age, and why you ran from the life you'd built the moment it required maturity. Therapy? I'm dying, not crazy. You're dying because you made crazy choices. Because you thought 23 and fun was better than 35 and stable. Because you confused youth with vitality and maturity with death. Fine. Therapy. What else? You'll volunteer at the women's shelter where I work. Meet women whose husbands discarded them for younger models. See what happens to expired goods when they're thrown away. That's cruel. That's accountability. Third condition, you'll write letters to my daughters. Not now, but someday. Explaining why men who see women as products with expiration dates end up alone. Why their mother's worth has nothing to do with her age and everything to do with her heart. They'll hate me. They don't even know you exist. But someday they'll face men who think like you did. And they'll need to know their worth isn't measured in years, but in depth. And if I refuse, then you refuse. I'll still give you the kidney because I'm a doctor and a decent human being. But you'll get it knowing you learned nothing from nearly dying at 45 because you thought 35 was too old. He started crying then. Not the manipulative tears of someone wanting something, but the broken sobs of someone seeing clearly for the first time. I was such a fool. Yes. Brittany, she was so young. So impressed by everything. It made me feel powerful. Important. Like I wasn't getting older as long as she looked at me like I was 25. But you were getting older. Just without growing. And you were growing. That's what scared me. Your career, your plans, your depth. Next to you, I felt shallow. So I found someone shallow enough to make me feel deep. And how did that work out? I'm dying alone while my ex-wife decides whether I'm worth saving. How do you think it worked out? The surgery was scheduled for the following week. Arjun held my hand until they wheeled me away, whispering that I was the strongest woman he knew. The girls had made me cards with crooked hearts and "We love you, mommy" in purple crayon. The recovery was hard. Harder than childbirth, than residency, than divorce. But Arjun was there every day. The girls sang me songs through video calls, and slowly I healed. Richard healed too. The kidney took, his body accepted what his heart had rejected. A piece of the woman he'd called expired goods, now literally keeping him alive. He kept his promises. Therapy twice a week. Volunteering at the shelter, where he faced the wreckage of his former worldview. And the letters, he sent me copies. Pages of apology, of hard-won wisdom, of warnings against the toxic mythology that youth equals worth. "Daddy, why do you only have one kidney?" Dia asked one day, having overheard something she shouldn't have. "Because I gave one to someone who needed it," I said simply. "Was it someone you love?" I thought about it. It was someone who taught me that love isn't about age or looks or fun. It's about choosing to grow together instead of apart. And sometimes it's about saving people who don't deserve it, because that's what makes us human. "Oh, can we have pancakes now?" Life moved on. Richard sent Christmas cards with updates on his therapy progress. He was dating again, a woman his own age who ran a nonprofit. "She has crow's feet," he wrote. "They're beautiful. They mean she smiled a lot." He never remarried. But he lived. And more importantly, he learned. On my 45th birthday, I found a package on my doorstep. Inside was a first edition of The Velveteen Rabbit and a note. "For the woman who taught me that real beauty comes from being loved, not from being new. Thank you for my life, and more importantly, for showing me how to live it. Happy birthday to someone who only gets better with age." I shelved the book between my medical journals and my daughter's artwork. Expired goods, he'd called me. But expiration dates, I'd learned, were just arbitrary numbers stamped by those too afraid to look deeper. Wine aged, cheese aged, love aged, and women, we didn't expire. We evolved. Just ask the man kept alive by the kidney of his expired ex-wife, finally learning at 45 what I'd known at 35. The best things in life don't come with expiration dates. They come with depth, resilience, and the kind of beauty that makes laugh lines look like roadmaps to joy. He divorced me for being too old at 35. 7 years later, my expired kidney was the only thing young enough to save his life. God doesn't just have a sense of humor. She has a sense of poetry. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned. The bank app notification hit my phone like a physical blow. Current balance, $47.23. 5 minutes ago, it had shown $50,847.23. My hands shook as I refreshed the screen, certain it was a glitch. The same pathetic number stared back at me. "Babe, you home?" Ryan's voice carried from the front door, casual as if he hadn't just detonated our entire future. I stayed frozen on the couch, phone gripped so tight my knuckles went white. 5 years of scrimping, saving, saying no to vacations and dinners out. 5 years of planning for the house we'd buy, the life we'd build. Gone in a single transaction. "There you are." He appeared in the doorway, actually smiling. "We need to talk." "Yes," I managed, voice surprisingly steady. "We do." He dropped beside me on the couch, still wearing his gym clothes. Still smelling like the expensive protein shakes he insisted on buying while I clipped coupons for groceries. "So, Mom called today," he started, running a hand through his dark hair. "Remember how her roof was leaking? Turns out it's worse than we thought. The whole thing needs replacing, plus there's water damage to the structure." I knew where this was going. Patricia Anders had been having emergencies since the day we got married. The woman went through crises like other people went through coffee filters. "How much?" I asked quietly. "Well, that's the thing." He took my hand, and I fought the urge to pull away. "The contractor says it'll be about $48,000 to fix everything properly. And you know Mom, she's on a fixed income, no savings. So you gave her our money." The words hung between us. He had the audacity to look surprised at my flat tone. "Sarah, honey, it's not giving. It's helping family. We'll build the savings backup dash." "Did you ask me?" I interrupted. "Did you call and say, 'Hey, Sarah, my mom needs our entire life savings'? Did you think maybe your wife should have a vote?" His face shifted to that expression I'd grown to hate. Patient condescension mixed with subtle disappointment. "I knew you'd react like this. That's why I had to act fast. The contractor needed a deposit today dash. $50,000 is not a deposit, Ryan. Well, no. I paid the whole thing. Better to get it done right, you know? I laughed. Actually laughed. Because what else could I do? Scream. Cry. Throw the decorative pillows we'd bought at a discount store because we were saving for our future? You'll understand once you calm down, he continued, squeezing my hand. Family comes first. Always. My mom sacrificed everything to raise me alone. We owe her this. We. As if I'd been part of this decision. As if my 5 years of overtime shifts and skipped lattes meant nothing. I need some air, I said, standing on legs that felt disconnected from my body. Sarah, don't be dramatic. It's just money, Dash. Just money. I whirled on him. Do you know what I gave up for that money? The conferences I skipped because they were too expensive? The certifications I couldn't afford? The networking events I missed because the tickets cost too much? We'll save it again, Dash. No, I said quietly. We won't. I left him sitting there, confused and irritated, and locked myself in our bedroom. Our bedroom, with its second-hand furniture and clearance rack bedding. Everything we owned screamed of sacrifice, of waiting for better days. My laptop sat on the dresser, closed and innocent-looking. Inside was an email I'd been waiting to share over a romantic dinner this weekend. A celebration of what we'd built together. Except we hadn't built anything together. I'd built and he'd taken. I opened the laptop and reread the offer letter from Hartman Industries. Senior Marketing Director. $200,000 annual salary plus bonuses. More than triple what I was making now. The kind of money that would have meant no more choosing between groceries and gas, no more anxiety attacks over unexpected bills. I'd interviewed in secret, not wanting to jinx it. Planned to surprise Ryan with champagne and the news that our struggling days were over. That his mother could have her roof fixed without destroying our dreams. Funny how timing worked. My phone buzzed. A text from Patricia. Ryan told me you're upset about the money. Don't worry, dear. I'm sure you'll manage. You always were good at making do with less. Smiling face with smiling eyes. Making do with less. The woman who'd never worked a day in her life, who'd lived off her ex-husband's alimony and her son's guilt, thought I was good at making do with less. I screenshot the text. Evidence for later. The divorce lawyer answered on the second ring. Yes, they could see me tomorrow. Yes, they handled cases where marital assets had been disposed of without consent. Yes, they took payment plans. Ryan knocked on the door around midnight. Sarah, you can't stay mad forever. Come on, let's talk about this like adults. Like adults. Because apparently, adult behavior meant draining joint accounts without discussion. I'm sleeping, I called back. We'll talk tomorrow. I love you, he said through the door. You know that, right? Everything I do is for us. I stared at the ceiling, counting the water stains we couldn't afford to fix. For us. How many times had I heard that? When he'd quit his third job because it wasn't fulfilling. When he'd insisted his mother move closer, into a more expensive apartment we helped pay for. When he'd bought that motorcycle because a man needs something for himself. Always for us. Never actually us. I must have dozed off eventually because I woke to my alarm at 5 a.m. Ryan slept on the couch. I could hear his snoring from the living room. Good. I needed time. The divorce papers printed silently on our ancient printer. I'd filled them out online at 3 a.m., using a template from a legal website. Not ideal, but it would start the process. I packed methodically. Only my things, clothes, toiletries, the jewelry box my grandmother left me. My laptop and chargers. The coffee mug from my first job. Small things that meant nothing to him, but everything to me. The note took longer. How did you explain 5 years of growing resentment? 5 years of being the responsible one while he played devoted son to a woman who treated me like the help. In the end, I kept it simple. Ryan, asterisk, you were right. Family does come first. Which is why I'm choosing mine, starting with myself. Asterisk. Asterisk, I accepted a job offer yesterday. $200,000 a year. Would have told you over dinner this weekend, along with my plan to help your mom and save for our future. Asterisk. But you made a unilateral decision about our money, so I'm making one about our marriage. Asterisk, the savings account you emptied? My lawyer will be in touch about that. The promotion I earned while you were at the gym? That's mine alone, asterisk. Good luck explaining to your mother why her roof cost you your marriage. Sarah, asterisk P.S. The divorce papers are on the kitchen table. You'll find I'm being more than fair. I'm only asking for the $25,000 that was mine. You can keep the car you bought without asking me. Consider it a parting gift. Asterisk. I left the note beside the divorce papers, weighing it down with my wedding ring. The cheap band left a green mark on my finger. Another thing we were going to upgrade when we had money. My sister Rebecca picked me up at 6:30, right on schedule. She'd been waiting for this day for years, watching Ryan drain me financially and emotionally while hiding behind the shield of family obligations. "You okay?" she asked as I loaded my bags into her car. "I will be," I said, meaning it. "Can you believe he didn't even ask? $50,000, and he didn't even ask." "I can believe it," she muttered, pulling away from the curb. "Remember when he gave his cousin $5,000 for that business opportunity, without telling you? That was different. That was his bonus money dash. That you earned by working overtime, so he could study for certifications he never finished." She had a point. There'd been so many red flags, but I'd painted them green with hope and loyalty. My phone started ringing at 7:15. "Ryan." I let it go to voicemail. 7:18, more calls. 7:22, the text started. "What the hell is this? Sarah, this isn't funny. Come home now. You can't just leave. We're married. $200K? Why didn't you tell me? We could have given Mom more." That last one actually made me laugh. Of course that would be his takeaway. Not pride in my accomplishment, not excitement for our future. Just calculations about how much more his mother could have gotten. Rebecca glanced at my phone. "Want me to pull over so you can block him?" "Not yet," I said. "I want to see how this plays out." By 8 a.m., the tone had shifted. "Baby, please. Let's talk about this. I was going to surprise you. Mom's giving us $10,000 back as a wedding gift. You know I love you. One mistake shouldn't end our marriage. One mistake. As if this was an isolated incident and not the latest in a pattern of financial betrayal. 8:47 a.m. My mom wants to apologize. She didn't know you'd be upset. 9:15 a.m. Your sister won't answer my calls. This is kidnapping. 9:33 a.m. Fine. Keep your stupid job. See if money keeps you warm at night. Rebecca pulled into her driveway, shaking her head. 5 years of this. How did you stand it? I thought it was love, I admitted. Sacrifice for the person you love, right? Except I was the only one sacrificing. Her guest room was already made up, complete with fresh flowers on the nightstand. She'd been preparing for this day, whether she admitted it or not. HR wants you to start Monday, I told her, scrolling through emails. They're expediting everything because of my situation. Did you tell them, Dash, that I'm getting divorced because my husband stole our savings? No, just said I had a family emergency requiring relocation. Technically true, she pointed out. My phone rang again. This time, it was Patricia. Against my better judgment, I answered. How dare you? She screeched before I could speak. How dare you abandon my son over money? You selfish, gold-digging Dash. Patricia, I interrupted calmly. He took $50,000 without asking. Would you stay with someone who did that? It was for family. I was supposed to be his family too. You. She laughed, harsh and bitter. You were never family. Just the girl who trapped him with your neediness. He could have done so much better, Dash. I hung up, blocked her number, then blocked Ryan's for good measure. The lawyer called at noon. Yes, I had grounds for divorce. Yes, we could pursue the financial theft angle. No, it wouldn't be pleasant, but it was doable. Document everything, she advised. Every text, every bank statement, every time he made a major financial decision without you. That'll be a long list, I muttered. Good. Judges don't look kindly on financial abuse in marriages. Financial abuse. I'd never thought of it that way, but hearing it said out loud. Yes. That's exactly what it was. Death by 1,000 financial cuts. 2 days later, Ryan showed up at Rebecca's house. I watched from the upstairs window as he pounded on the door, disheveled and desperate. I know you're in there, he shouted. Sarah, please. Mom's sick from the stress. She might lose the house. Rebecca stepped onto the porch, baseball bat in hand. Get off my property before I call the cops. She's my wife. Check your kitchen table. Pretty sure she's not. He deflated then, all the righteous anger leaking out like air from a punctured balloon. I don't understand. We were happy. You were happy, Rebecca corrected. Sarah was drowning. Now get lost before I make you. He left, shoulders hunched, driving the sports car he'd bought last year because deals like that don't come around often. The divorce took 4 months. Ryan fought it initially, then folded when my lawyer presented evidence of years of financial decisions made without my consent. The judge ordered him to repay my half of the savings within 2 years. Patricia called me every name in the book during the proceedings. Apparently, I'd ruined her life by refusing to continue subsidizing it. The roof, it turned out, hadn't actually needed $50,000 in repairs. More like 15. The rest had gone to paying off her credit cards and booking a cruise. She was always going to bleed you dry, my lawyer said after one particularly nasty confrontation. Women like that see their sons' wives as competition, and ATMs rolled into one. The day my divorce was finalized, I stood in my new office at Hartman Industries, looking out at the city skyline. My assistant knocked. I had an assistant now, reminding me about the team meeting in 10 minutes. "Thank you, Janet," I said, smoothing my designer dress. Not clearance rack. Not secondhand. Bought with my own money for my own success. My phone buzzed. An unknown number, but I recognized the area code. "Hello, Sarah? It's Ryan. Please don't hang up." I almost did, but curiosity won. "What do you want?" I wanted to say I'm sorry. Really sorry. I've been in therapy and, God, I fucked up so bad. "Yes," I agreed. "You did. Mom's gone to live with my aunt. I couldn't afford to keep supporting her after everything. She won't speak to me now. Karma's funny like that." He sighed. "I know you hate me. I deserve it. I just wanted you to know that I understand now. What I did. What I took from you. It wasn't just money." "No," I said quietly. "It wasn't. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. The job, the success. You earned it all." "I know," I said. "I always knew. You were the one who didn't." We hung up without promises to keep in touch or wishes for happiness. Some bridges, once burned, were meant to stay ash. That night, I had dinner with Rebecca and her family. My nephew asked why I was smiling so much. Because, I told him, Aunt Sarah learned something important. Sometimes the best investment you can make is in yourself. "Is that why you got divorced?" Kids had no filter. "That's exactly why," I said, ruffling his hair. "That, and because I learned that when someone shows you who they are, you should believe them." "I don't get it," he said. "You will," I promised. "Hopefully before you lose $50,000 learning it." Rebecca raised her wine glass. "To expensive lessons and new beginnings." "To choosing yourself," I countered. We clinked glasses while my nephew made faces at the adult conversation. Outside, the world went on, people making choices, taking chances, learning who deserved their loyalty and who deserved their goodbye. My phone sat silent on the table. No more desperate texts or angry voicemails. Just peace. Just possibility. Just me, finally first on my own priority list. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.